Well, President Cyril Ramaphosa has authorised the Special Investigating Unit to investigate allegations of maladministration in the Office of the Premier in KwaZulu-Natal.
The body says the investigation will look into whether there was any unauthorised and fruitless expenditure between April 2007 and July 2023. The proclamation also covers allegations of unlawful and improper conduct.
It will focus on the appointment of a consultant to support 6 provincial priority programs, including the Luamba Wellness Centre project and Operation Sugumasake. Let's speak now to the spokesperson for the SIU, Kaizer Kganyago, who's joining us on Newzroom Prime. A very good evening to you, sir. Welcome. Quite a lot that you will now have to look into in KwaZulu-Natal. What is your initial sense of what appears to have happened in these years, between 2007 and this year?
Good evening, and good evening to your listeners and viewers. What has happened here is we received allegations from whistleblowers who clearly indicated to us that there was something amiss around these projects, especially in the appointment of consultant, wherein the processes were not followed, and it looks like some of the people were just giving these contracts to the people that they know, and then they just wanted to swindle money out of government. Therefore, when we assessed all of that with the evidence that was given to us, we were then in a position to then prepare a proclamation to the president, and now the president has signed, and it was gazetted on Friday last week, to say, let us now go closer and look at what really happened during the time in 2007, because unfortunately it just gives a long thing to say 2007 until 29 July, but that is how a proclamation is done. But most of this work was done in 2007 and somewhere 2007, 2008. Therefore, every proclamation just says it goes up until the date when the proclamation is signed, but it doesn't necessarily mean that these things happened during this financial year.
And are you at this point able to say if you've identified specific individuals, characters of interest?
Not at the moment. We would not have done that. Like I said, the proclamation was signed on Friday. We have now sent it to our team in KwaZulu-Natal, who will then scope the work. They will go to the Premier's office. I'm pleased because I've seen a statement from the Premier's office this afternoon that was saying they will cooperate with us and give us all the information that we need. That process will happen. We will then sign an agreement with the Premier's office where we give the scope and the possible time that we're going to need to do the work. And that will be done in the next week. And at that point, like I always say, we would not be looking at individuals. We will be looking at what happened. And then if we find that it is really true that there was things that were not going right, we will be then in a position to say who did what or who did not do what at that stage, not at this present moment.
And 2007 was a long time ago. 2007, 2008, you said this is when much of this is said to have happened or alleged to have happened. Could the passage of time present a complication for the investigation, just as far as, for example, following the paper trail and connecting and finding some of the people who may or may not have been involved, when you consider that people die, people move, etc.?
Yes, obviously, because we don't know all the characters that are at play. I wouldn't say it will cause a problem or not. It's possible that some of the people might not be there. But at the end of the day, you know that government is supposed to keep files for a certain period of time. Therefore, unless they deliberately remove them, then it's something else. But in this particular instance, we hope we'll get all the documentation, because if they have made payments to these consultants, there must be a process that was followed. It should be there in the financial systems of the Premier's office. Therefore, it is important that we follow it up.
The SIU has had multiple presentations before Parliament recently, where we've spoken about the work that you're doing in trying to unearth and connect some of the dots around the vast scale, if you will, of corruption, especially when you look at what's going on in the public sector. At the moment, are you able to cope? Because it feels as though, from a distance, these proclamations are coming in thick and fast now.
No, definitely they are coming in thick and fast, and we still have a lot of them that we are waiting for, because we have sent a lot of them up to the President's office. The issue of capacity will always be an issue for us, and we believe that At the moment, we are coping with what we have, and then we are, as and when there is a need, we then capacitate more. And if there are instances where we've got to get people on a temporary basis so that they can help us with this particular proclamation that might need more resources, we do so. And we've got panels that have been put together to assist us in this regard. Therefore, for now, we are coping, but like we have always said, the more they come, the more we need resources, the more we need the money. That is why we always indicated that those people that owe us, especially government departments that are owing us, they must pay us because we need that money for next proclamations that are coming through.
With that context in mind, then, what is a reasonable time frame for an investigation such as what you now need to do in the Premier's office in KwaZulu-Natal?
Yes, what happened is one of the things that we've put as part of our strategy, our turnaround, was to decrease the amount of time that we're going to need to do the investigation. And we have said that each and every investigation or proclamation that we start should not be investigated for more than a year. If for one reason or the other, it happens that it passes a year, we must have a provisional report given to the president at that point, because we do not want things lingering around. But we are limiting this time little by little to try and make it in less than a year, but also being mindful of the fact that we do not have to compromise the quality of the investigations that we are doing. But we are giving ourselves a year to try and make sure that it doesn't go over a year in any of our proclamations. And
would it be fair to suggest at this point, Mr. Kganyago, that whatever you find within the Premier's office in KwaZulu-Natal is likely a tip of the iceberg, in fact, perhaps the signs of an even bigger problem, not just in what's happened in the office in subsequent years, but perhaps a more provincial problem in terms of graft, etc.?
If we find that it is the tip of the iceberg and we have got evidence to that effect, we then go back to the president and amend the proclamation to include the new things that we might have found so that we work within the law.
Kaizer Kganyago, spokesperson for the SIU, thank you so much for your time tonight.